Hello and welcome to my first video of my first lore series, starting at first with the Noble First Legion, so this really is a first for my channel. I will be covering the origins of the First Legion and touch very lightly upon their personality, as their personality will be explained further in other episodes, and I hope you enjoy. The First Legion, later known as the Dark Angels, were the first legion created by the Emperor and would in many respects serve as the prototype. It is the first legion that would set the standard and an example for later legions. Before the formation of the first, under the Principia Belicosa, the Emperor had used the Hexagrammaton, and under the organization of the Hexagrammaton, the First Legion was originally known as the 6 hosts of the Angels of Death, each host possessing a certain speciality in warfare, and would be deployed to assist in situations that warranted the skills of a specific host. What would one day be formed into the First Legion would serve as specialist forces in various combat roles, assisting other segments of the Imperial military. Due to being the prototype, they would act as the template upon which the later, more specialized legions would be based off, and would set the standard for those legions. Moving on from the Hexagrammaton, the Emperor would create the Principia Belicosa, and the 6 hosts would then form the First Legion, following the newly penned Principia. The Principia Belicosa was a document that detailed imperial military organization, strategy, and tactics, taking large inspiration from the ancient Roma and various military guides from history. This would be used by the Legiones Astartes from their inception in the latter years of the Unification Wars until the legions would be reunited with their primarchs, as many of these reunions would see varying degrees of change in the organization of the various legions. The First Legion would possess a unique quality to other legions, and that is that it would retain the 6 hosts within their legion structure. Following the Principia's organization, the hierarchy of a legion would consist of a legion master, a space marine in command of the legion until said legion was reunited with its primarch, consular representatives being senior members of other elements of the legion, be they legionaries or human staff, such as the Master of the Apothecary and Librarius Armorium, the Master of Navigators or Master of the Fleet, and so on. An honor guard for the Primarch or Legion Master, and beyond the Legion's upper command come the formations. The Legion would divide their forces into groups of 1,000 legionaries, called chapters, though this would vary from legion to legion. A chapter master would have overall command of a specific chapter, which would be further divided into several companies or battalions. A battalion is a formation consisting of half of a chapter, which would be led by either a chapter master or the captain of one of the companies within the battalion. A company would consist of 100 legionaries and would be led by a captain, and finally we end with the sergeant, who would lead his squad of 10 to 20 legionaries. The First Legion would differ in this, as they would also retain the organizations within the Hexagrammaton, possessing 6 hosts that would exist outside the regular chain of command, each possessing a voted lieutenant that would lead his designated host. In certain situations, when the standard tactics prove inefficient to the situation, the commander in question would call on a member or the voted lieutenant of one of the 6 hosts to deploy. The host's forces would be deployed, and the host would shift the style of warfare during the battle. This would allow for great tactical and strategic flexibility and versatility. Take, for instance, a few companies working with the presence of the Dreadwing. Now, the First Legion would always be open to most forms of warfare, so long as their purpose is fulfilled, so the commanders of the standard company formations would still have versatility in their efforts, but say that the situation in question would benefit from a different type of warfare. For instance, the Dreadwing may be called upon to either deploy their destroyer squads, utilizing some of the most destructive weapons deployed by the Astartes, such as Phosphex, Rad, and Vortex weapons, mass armored assaults, these being large amounts of super heavy class vehicles such as Land Raiders, Spartan assault tanks, Fellblades, and Mastodons, similar to what you might see from the Iron Hounds or Iron Warriors, and their use of weaponry might link them to the Death Guard in some respects. This being one of only 6 wings would be a valuable addition to any standard fighting force. The application of a specialized formation such as a host could turn a costly victory into an easy victory. This is the end of my first video on the First Legion. I will attempt to make these videos small but informative and split them into parts for each legion, this being the origin of the First Legion. Next, I will cover the Legion's reunion with its Primarch and all other significant lore up to the end of the Horus Heresy book series. The third video will be about their Primarch, and I believe I will create a fourth video covering significant campaigns such as the Rangan Xenocides during the Great Crusade, as well as any other significant campaigns and their activities during the Horus Heresy. I will likely cover the story of the feud between the Dark Angels and Space Wolves, explaining things as well as clearing up any misconceptions that are held about the Dark Angels. As for the Siege of Terra, I have decided to make that its own sub-series as, even though there's going to be less books than there are in the Heresy, there will be a hell of a lot to go through. After all, we are talking about an event that's been built up over the course of 54 official books, 24 Primarch books, including the Primarch series' own dedicated short stories and audio dramas, 24 official novellas, 34 audio dramas, and 91 short stories at the making of this video. I will try to upload these videos as often as possible, but it is a rather busy time for me, and it will take time to verify the information I put into my videos and find quotes through revising certain books. Finally, I would like to say that I am going to attempt making small videos aimed at being extremely short, perhaps around 1 to 2 minutes long, much like the Lore YouTube channel and their Lore in a Minute videos. However, it will be dedicated to various parts of 40k. This will be much like a Newcomers series, similar to 40k Theory's Lore for Newcomers, but with a video length that would fit the expected attention span of someone just being introduced to 40k. Taking someone who's never heard of 40k and answering their curiosity with a half-an-hour video just describing who the Emperor is, my video will be more of a way to find out whether or not the newcomer is going to be interested in the given topic after a minute-long description, to then move on to 40k Theory's Newcomer series to get a secure foundation, and then go to, say, Luton or Arch and find out absolutely everything there is to know about a certain character or faction at the time. Within these short videos, I will try to describe the main essentials without going too deep into the lore. For instance, I may do a minute video simply answering the question of what a Space Marine is, what the Orcs are, and so on. Then perhaps create a more in-depth video later. This gives me more time to work on my longer and more detailed videos, especially regarding the Heresy. That is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed and hope to see you in my next video.